Welcome to this episode of A Detailed Look, where in today's episode I'll be taking a look at the latest content available in Mario Kart Tour, which is the Singapore Tour, a brand new city being brought to the game. Nice way to start off the year 2022. So in today's episode I'll be taking a look at the brand new items, some expectations for the value of these items in the future, as well as seeing what kind of challenges and rewards are available, and we'll take a brief look at the ranked mode. Finish it off with all the good stuff in the free pipe. So if that sounds good to you, please drop a thumbs up on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I do a lot of comprehensive, objective, data-driven analysis, but I also like to keep it light and fun at the same time as well. So I hope that is enjoyable to you all. The most prominent feature of this tour is that all 4 of the city track variants will be in ranked mode. So in the first week, which is the Luigi Cup, we see that we have Singapore Speedway T as well as Singapore Speedway R. And for week 2, we have the normal variant for Singapore Speedway as well as the reverse trig variant. So if your loadouts are lacking on one of them or multiple of them, that could be problematic for your chance to obtain this brand new ranked driver. We have Purple Koopa free running, and it has the double bob-omb skill. The value on these things do present much stronger than other super drivers, but bear in mind that supers are largely lacking in value compared to their high-end counterparts. View them as budget options, right? So if you're a brand new account starting off, this is a good option to have and to tick it up, because the coverage will be vastly superior to the super drivers that you're going to be seeing in the daily selects or in the tier shop, right? But if you're one of these experienced players that has been playing since day one or shortly thereafter and have significant investments into high ends, the niche that these drivers have on your account will not be significant. But with that being said, we see that placement for that ranked driver is in the top 5 slots. So you don't have to tier up in order to obtain this driver, just coming in the top 5. Now granted, that is for my tier of tier 55. It's possibly and likely different if you are in a different tier threshold than myself. So if you're a lower tier, I remember the last time that they had the ranked driver, it required tiering up, and then that may alter your viewpoint on how much you need to invest in order to obtain this driver. But do be advised that just in case this is not something that you obtain, it's not something that will harm your progress long term, okay? This is just an added bonus if you can get this on your account. So let's go and check out the pipe. That's the big thing that everybody's going to be wanting to talk about, right? Luigi Vacation looks very much like the counterpart to Sunshine Mario, including with the special skill in the Roaring Racer. Very nice cart, kind of a throwback to the Rambi Runner in a way. Has that kind of like platinum appearance to it, and we see that there's a returning spotlight, which is the Silver Manta Glider. The skill turned out to be Boomerang Flower, which, ha ha ha. So if all of you spent your rubies in the New Year's tour, well, Nintendo has something that might crank open the wallets for some players out there. So do be advised, look, if Luigi is your favorite character, this is an amazing one to pull for, because it has that elite special skill, right? He's starting off with 8 tracks of value. So, and what's significant about this is that if you take him all the way to level 6, you will have all 4 of the Singapore tracks covered with this Luigi, which is quite remarkable. I believe it's the first time that they've done that for a city variant character that is present in all 4 of the tracks that are in ranked mode. And this won't essentially kill its long-term value, because they have shown a propensity, although it does sort of destroy the game balance in a way, since they don't curtail the value, which is to say the number of tracks that these Boomerang Flower drivers obtain, quite to the extent that they do for Coinbox, which they should, because the ceiling of the Boomerang Flower is relatively on par with Coinbox. It depends on the track and the number of item boxes that are available, and the amount of coins that are available, right? So if there's coin rings, the boomerang flower is extraordinary for scoring, whether or not there are other coin box drivers available in the top shelf or middle shelf for those tracks. So without a doubt, the boomerang flower is a top 2 special skill. Sometimes it is the number 1 special skill. And Nintendo hasn't caught up with balancing their game out enough so that these drivers have fewer tracks relative to many of the other ones. As we've seen, Yoshi Kangaroo has been coming in the top shelf on a lot of these ranked tracks lately, which counterfeits the value of some of the new items that come into play, much the way that Coinbox does. But Nintendo hasn't been wise to making that adjustment, whereas we see the Coinbox drivers rarely. This is one exceptional instance in which it does, with Meowser getting access to one of these Singapore tracks, but the 4 times city ranked for these cities does break precedent when it comes to that mold, because this is something that we didn't see in the game prior to the very end of last year. So, is this something that you should pull for? Well, it certainly depends on what kind of a player that you are. If you are strongly competitive in the game, pay to win, gold pass plus some bundles, then for sure Luigi Vacation is one that you'll want to consider. But look, Nintendo keeps coming out with these elite special skills. It's oversaturation, right? And at some point, I think everyone has a different threshold for how much they're willing to invest, and also how much stimulus can you put into this game, right? And I don't mean that just from a monetary sense, but also from like an energy sense, right? And a motivation sense to keep competing and placing in the top, whether that be in All Cup ranking or in your ranked mode as it relates to what tier you're in. So all considerations to keep in mind with that. Now we take a look at the Roaring Racer. This looks very beautiful. Will it be as valuable as the Rambi Runner? Well, I think the Zoom Broom is probably a better comparison for this car, even though it does look like the Rambi Runner. And that's because it is starting off with quite a few city values. So remember, the Rambi Runner has an extraordinary amount of assumed value tracks, and this one already is starting off suspect in terms of its assumed value count. However, it will be a strong cart for several months to come. This is going to be a seasonal flavor that will keep appearing in ranked mode over time. It is starting off with 8 tracks, which isn't the top as far as carts go. We'll take a look at that jukebox cart that's a pay-only cart, and that will go to show just some of the contrast in terms of the value between this cart and that cart. So overall, I would estimate that the Roaring Racer cart won't be as significant as that jukebox cart, but this one will still be very good in the long run, and it looks very nice. So I know some people might be more interested in pulling on this pipe for the cart as opposed to the driver, although that was the sentiment before we knew it was Boomerang Flower. Now that we see that it's Boomerang, everybody goes to town with that. And then we have the Silver Manta glider, one of the strongest gliders in the game, quite a large number of tracks as we can see here. Gained access to 2 Singapore tracks, so it will be in ranked multiple times in this tour. It looks like in week 1 one time and in week 2. So that's a nice spotlight set to have made realized value alongside of these 2 new items, which will be significant in the foreseeable future. So that's my take on the pipe. Listen, you don't have to pull for this, whether or not you have the rubies, okay? That's a decision that you make based on your own motivation and interest in the game, okay? Don't let outside forces, such as like this having an elite special skill, cloud your judgment in terms of what you want to pull for. So, taking a look at the token shop, vanilla this time, right? We have the regular supers, no high-end tickets, which is fine. Look, we've been spoiled for a while, so that's quite all right. And we do know from the data mining that the next tour will be a rally tour. So it will be Wario versus Waluigi, and that, along with that comes the enhanced token shop bonuses. So we'll be seeing high-end tickets here again very soon. Daily selects, nothing special going on. And we see in the tier shop, there is Luigi, the cucumber cart, as well as the blizzard balloons, which somehow I have up to level 3 already. I pulled it quite a few times, whether it be from when I pulled for Kamek or all clear pipes, things of that kind. And then I have this high-end glider ticket, which I usually only recommend picking up the cart ones, but since glider tickets are so much rarer in the daily selects, if your quantity of tickets in your inventory is light for an item such as gliders, you could just view that 3K as being the 3K that you're spending, or saving rather, on all those daily selects high-end driver tickets if you're in a point in your game where you're seeing those in your daily selects. And then it basically is a wash in terms of your inventory and your resources spent. So let's take a look at this ranked mode and what are the loadouts. Well, mine are not very good here. So I have a middle shelf coin boxer, but we can see this one is definitely some of the paywall warriors, right? We have Daisy Swimwear coming back. We have Waluigi Vampire, who is now carrying the torch for Birdo Black. And we actually have a boomerang overlap, which is quite something. So if you invested into Yoshi Kangaroo, you might not need the Luigi Vacation. But if you're that kind of player that is already invested into Yoshi Kangaroo, you're probably thinking about the future more than the current. So in my case, I have middle shelf coin box. In the top shelf, we have a lot of recent carts. We see that that Holiday Prancer, one of the Mark IIs, as well as Satellaview's cart, right? But I got middle shelf here, and then bottom shelf. So this is pretty rough here. But that silver Manta glider is in the pipe for those of you that are pulling, but strongly recommend not pulling specifically for ranked mode, even with this ranked super in play. Think about your resources. My resource masterclass is still highly relevant. Some of the information could afford to be updated, particularly with ranked mode, but when it comes to resource allocation, that is still spot on and wonderful advice to follow for your own gameplay experience. So I'd highly recommend, even still, in 2022, the Resource Masterclass will take your game to the next level. Here's a bit of news. We have this Silver Surfmaster. It's now a standard high-end, so actually, if I were so lucky, I could somehow pull this in a all clear pipe pull or today's challenge pipe pull. So that's pretty cool, but bottom shelf for the time being with the swooper there. And then Waluigi Pinball RT, PGP track for most of you. For myself, this is going to be a Funky Kong track, right? Because I do invest into those Kongs. And the options for the high ends, there's a lot of things, both new and old, as well as this super, which we saw is already available in the tier shop. So in terms of supers, the Cucumber's value is head and shoulders above most of the other supers that are out there. So definitely a good one. If you're looking to invest and you're trying to save high-end tickets, the Cucumber is a good option there. And then we have this Blizzard Balloons, which came out of nowhere to level 3 for me. So that's quite a decent loadout. We can see I actually picked up 34K quite easily before I even got many of the base points up on Funky Kong for the triple cap. I decided it's time, need just a little bit of motivation for that daily play. And 34K, that was a mushroom and a coin frenzy. So, and then we'll take a look at Singapore Speedway R, and I'll just do the race right now actually, because we have DK Jr. is back in play, which is nice to see. But it is a little bit bittersweet because his value has increased substantially in the second half of 2021 and going now into 2022. And I know some folks out there are tired of seeing DK Jr. being in the top shelf of these new tracks, but you have to observe it with the context that, like, he's only obtained 10 top shelf buffs that have appeared for ranked mode. But if they provided the Kong fans with just one driver, like they really should, because it's important for fans of these different characters. There's different reasons why people play Mario Kart Tour, and a lot of it is just the personalities, the characters, and the branding, right? Like, you know, you could play another racing game, but they don't have Donkey Kong and they don't have Mario, right? That's what we're here for. Many of us are here for the characters, and with Nintendo's infrastructure for this game of constantly coming out with new tracks, new variants, RMX, whatever it may be the case, those drivers such as Donkey Kong, who was a superstar in the very beginning of the game, never seen anymore. Like my favorite character right here, Diddy Kong, he got a middle shelf buff. What do you know, right? But look, I mean, being my favorite character, very minimal top shelf, and they've provided some middle shelf track buffs, which to me signals that there is planned content for the Kongs this year. Now, I wouldn't expect that before May, which is the typical point in the calendar when we would see a tour themed around those characters. So might we see Cranky Kong or perhaps a Diddy Kong alt, since he is getting these middle shelf buffs and Donkey Kong isn't? That all remains to be seen. But, you know, what the point is that if they were to introduce a new high-end Diddy Kong, for example, or Cranky Kong, then that driver is going to obtain, in all likelihood, 30 or more favorite course tracks, the top shelf tracks, right? And then that far and away dwarfs the 10 that Donkey Kong Jr. received in the last year, right? So, you know, it's nice to see that they do continue to provide that support for those fans. And then also, there's nowhere to put the tickets, right? I already have it maxed out. So, you know, for a lot of the players who are paying and Kong fans, you know, they have nowhere else to go with some of these items. So they do need to revive some of these characters. Perhaps with the Wario versus Waluigi tour, we'll see that love given to Wario's character, who is much in need of an alt. And then there's only one set of characters left that's been ignored for so long, nearly 2 full years. So anyway, here we go. Let's go into the run, see what we can make happen on one run here in Singapore. Very kind of like futuristic kind of track. I love the music. It's very Mario, I have to say. It's I'm not very familiar with the culture in Singapore, so I can't comment on how appropriate it is, but I have to say that the music out of all of the city tracks feels far and away the most like a Mario theme that you would just hear in any game, whether that be a Mario Kart game or anyway, we have a Super Horn Frenzy here. Not ideal, since I don't think that there's anyone nearby. Alright. Well, we kept the combo for an entire lap, so that's a good sign. This one's a pretty nice variant. It's the only one I haven't raced with yet. Oh, I dropped the combo. I missed the dash panel there. But this one almost feels a little bit like a trick track, given that I do have a middle shelf glider, but haven't had to work too hard to find where my combo extensions are coming from. I accidentally was holding on to the item there, so I won't get a frenzy, but that's alright. This should be a pretty good run. So there we go. It should be about 20k. Yep, just 300 points short of it. Alright, how many actions was that? Only 78. So we have room for improvement significantly. I do think that this track is good for the triple bananas, since there are a few areas where all of the bots have to converge on a single point. Should be able to do some nice scoring stuff there. Okay, so we're going to talk about the challenges next, now that I see that come up. Okay, definitely need to talk about the challenges. With that, we're up to 64k. Look at that, first place. First place last week, and I haven't been putting any time into ranked mode. I've put about 2 hours, 2.5 hours into ranked mode in the last 3 months. So, been holding tier, 0 investments, 0 a ruby spent, you can do it, folks. You know, even though I'm spending less time invested into grinding out and sweating all of these positions, I'm still using all of that information that I shared in my previous content to optimize and be very efficient with what I'm doing. So even as, you know, I kind of take a step back from it, I'm also at the top of my game in terms of what I'm looking to accomplish, even as I'm not looking to accomplish anything. So all stuff to keep in mind with where you're at in your own experience. You want to be having fun. You don't want to feel like this is a chore. And a lot of times Mario Kart Tour can feel very much the same, tour in and tour out. Granted, these city experiences are pretty fun because it's a big shakeup from the typical experience. So this is going to be a nice one for everyone, I do think. So let's check out those challenges and go from there. So big things to keep in mind here is that we do have Kart Pro. I already got this, and you need to go into multiplayer and win 3 consecutive races. So if you folks need help with multiplayer, I can give a short demonstration momentarily on that. Then we have the regular tour multiplayer challenges. I mean, bob-omb hits, bullet bills. I'm gonna have to tank to get this one. Not a fan of that, but you can use a bullet bill glider. That will increase your probability of seeing that item and then just sandbag at the beginning. And you should be able to obtain that item after the first item box, because at the first item box, you can only see a mega mushroom or a regular mushroom in your first lap. And then we have this, and they extended the total points challenge all the way up to 900,000. So I wanted to provide some of my thoughts on this, and that is, this is primarily for the pay-to-win whale players out there, or even if you're just a long-time Gold Pass player, right? And getting 1 million points in a tour is relatively easy to you. This is a nice addition. And what tells me that it's specifically for that kind of player is because the gifts, right? They're not putting the level up tickets, right? They want to make the level up tickets accessible to everyone who's been playing for a reasonable amount of time, right? What they're adding in are the item tickets and the red point boost tickets, which are relatively low value for a lot of players out there. However, for players who are constantly doing the ACR grind, tour in and tour out, those are huge time savers, right? So, but I do want to give a warning here, because I know that it's just natural psychology. There's nothing wrong with it, but to see 900,000, you get 3 rubies, right? I know your loadouts might not be the best for the Singapore tracks, but that doesn't mean you need to pull in order to get the 3 rubies for 900,000. That just doesn't make sense, right? 3 rubies is only 1,200 coins in coins per ruby, the conversion factor, right? So that is for every ruby that you spend in the pipes, you'll get approximately, historically, out of all the pipes that have ever been given, approximately 400 coins per each ruby that you're spending, right? So with 3, that's 1,200 coins. It's not even the value of a super level up ticket, okay? So don't look to make wild moves on your account unless these are moves that you want to make in order to make a run for that, okay? Just be smart. Next up, we'll be going over some multiplayer tips. This is something that I don't typically show on the channel, but given that Kart Pro has returned, and I have a lot of experience in multiplayer, this is a perfect time to go ahead and pass on some of that knowledge to you folks out there. So this one, I'm gonna go with Berto Black, and since we're in a trick track, I'm going to go for a high-end jump boost cart, and the jump boost cart that has the smallest hitbox, which is this apple cart for myself. And now I will go with a super horn glider in this one, since I don't recall any significant shortcuts in this track. So go through and just see what we can do against these players, right? The one thing that you always want to do, along with matching your inventory if you're trying to get wins is just having familiarity with the track and knowing what's your shortest line in terms of winning. So we have, it looks like a double bob-omb frenzy. I'm just going to steer clear here. They should take the shortcut, which they do, and now they're back spamming. So I guess that was a little bit inevitable that I would face that. But this is the benefit here of having the bob-omb cannon. So this is a point where I can take a shortcut. Very nice. Oof. Forward bomb spam, very nice. I only attempt that on a ramp. And there we go. So definitely you want to leverage your position in terms of using the items like you saw. You know, I held on to the mushroom, used it in the area where you can get the shortcut, the maximum benefit. If there's not a shortcut where you can take advantage of a mushroom, also think about using it in a gliding path, since your speed in the gliding path is significantly reduced compared to that when you're on land. And then also, if you can descend and get back onto your wheel so that you can start mini turboing, as long as the elevation difference isn't that significant. So we'll do one more here, and that will be with DK, just to have some fun here, right? I'll go with the Super Horn glider once again. So the reason why I go with the Super Horn glider is that if there's not a significant number of shortcuts, which I typically see in the SNES tracks, right? Like Vanilla Lake, Choco Island, those are ones with a significant number of shortcuts, then I prefer to go with the Mushroom glider. But otherwise, I like the Super Horn glider because it's amazing what that does for your win rate in multiplayer. And now that they've modified around the same time that they updated actually the triple banana frenzy, they made it so that the incoming icon for when you're going to get hit by a shell is standardized. So it makes predicting and timing when those hits will occur that much easier, which makes using your Super Horn that much more effective. So most of the time, unless the opponent is right behind you and you don't have the opportunity to use the item in time for it to hit you, then it's definitely optimal. I mistimed my red shell hit on that, which is a bit unfortunate, but yeah, so interesting situation. You saw that he blocked that, but this is perfect. That's a perfect example of what I was just talking about, folks. I avoided the glider path. I always do this on DK Pass. You don't want to take the glider path. Take the jump boost on the side. It's quicker. And by doing so, my opponent didn't know that. And I avoided the blue shell that went and hit him. And now I have a very nice lead here. So we're looking very good here. I ended up dropping that. Sometimes I like to play a little bit offensively, but I would only recommend doing that if you're comfortable. And this is really nice now because I have a Super Horn up front. So if there's another blue shell, I'm totally guarded for that. And then always know what's your quickest line. So in my case, it's this. Looks like one of those bananas saved me. So I get to keep the blue shell, the Super Horn for the blue shell, which is nice. And this time I'm gonna go over here. A little bit shorter of a line. I was stuck on the left-hand side before, so this is looking really good. I'll use it on the blooper just for fun, just for the extra points. And there we go, folks. That's how you get it done. Whenever there's a Kong in play, I feel like there's just a little bit of pride on the line, right? I gotta do well with the Kongs. That was a lot of fun. And honestly, the daily multiplayer is one of the most fun aspects that I still have logging on daily and playing the game. So I take the multiplayer with more seriousness than I do with the ranked modes these days. So anyway, I think that was a good enough demonstration of the multiplayer. Hopefully you found this beneficial. Certainly, if you take this advice and just get a little bit of practice in, your win rate is going to shoot up, right? I mean, most of the time in these standard races, I'll win, just about every time, except when I'm playing against my friends, they're very good. So the win rate drops when the friends join the crew. But we always have fun in the friend races when that's the case. So what did I get here? Oh, I got the 3 bomb hits. Interesting. That was thanks to Birdo Black. So see, subliminally, I went with the Birdo Black. But bomb cannon is a decent skill if you do fall out of that front running position, because it is one that can catch up much easier than many of the other kinds that are out there. So I think to finish off now, since we covered pretty much everything that there is, I'll do today's challenge and the free pipes. How does that sound? If you found this informational, enjoyable, and fun, drop a thumbs up on this video. It definitely helps so that more people can see the content and benefit from it in some way. I do always make sure that whenever I post content, it is going to be informational. Quality over quantity, I say. So here we go. This is actually my first time racing with Nabbit, I think, because I actually don't have Nabbit, which is pretty remarkable since he's a standard high-end. Maybe I've used him before in one of these races, but here we go. Snipe. Ooh, rusty. Missed that snipe. I'll hit the red shell though. And then here's a little multiplayer line if you're on this track. You're going to want to take the gliding path and go over here. It's better if you have smart steering turned off, because I think that there's an invisible wall there that slows me down a little bit. I have smart steering turned on. I just like that extra degree of comfort when I'm racing. But anyway, there we have it. First place finish using that shortcut. That's also a good example of why the shrooms are so effective on Choco Island as well. So here we go, green pipe. We saw I triple capped the Funky Kong, still working on the base points. He's 1 away. Can we call in, patch in to intern 4 to get a Funky Kong here? I don't know. That would be a pretty crazy fake green pipe, wouldn't it? Maybe on the all clear pipe, finally, when I do the special pipe analysis this week. Anyway, let's see what it is. Oh, 10 rubies. Okay, that's a nice gift. Certainly, I wish I could do a donation or a giveaway on this video for the rubies, because I don't have the interest to really spend them, and I know a lot of you out there do. But listen, if you use the savings principles that I teach in my entire line of content, you don't have to do it to the extent that I do it, but you will, rest assured, obtain everything that you could ever want in the game without having to spend a dime, without being baited into all of these pipes. You can do it. I have every faith in the world. So with that said, should you pull on this pipe? Certainly, if you're interested in this Luigi character, if you're a top player going for the boomerang, boom box, they're really fun. But otherwise, I would recommend avoiding this pipe. There's certainly nothing that you absolutely must have in this pipe, okay? It's all the context of what you want to accomplish in the game. And if you're still looking to achieve that top level of competition, just be aware of where you're at. And that's the only recommendation I can make, really, is self-evaluation is a very vital skill to have, not just in this game, but in life in general. So Can we get lucky here? First one up is green. It's only 6% high-end odds on this one, so I don't expect anything crazy. We have the piston glider. Second one up, also green. Okay, we end off with coins for the pipe buggy. So I do wish all of you have wonderful luck if you are going in on this pipe. Singapore looks really fun. Can't wait to race on it a little bit more. If this content was informational, enjoyable, please do share your support with the channel. Subscribe. We just hit 800 subscribers. I cannot thank you enough. I'm so grateful for all of the support that you've shown, the ideas here, and the interactions that we have in the comments. It's been a blast. And as always, drop a thumbs up because that gets it out to more people and we can expand this community. And I like what we do here, right? It's about the information, it's about optimizing things that you're doing, but it's about also having fun and finding ways to merge that and intertwine the competitive with the casual side of things. So do take care, everyone. I wish you all the best, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye-bye.